started like a couple years ago, we got together, won a state championship together. We said, hey, what if we did this permanently? How great would this be? Then our junior league team last year came in 5th in the world. That was a great run. So now this year we are 1 Little League. So we're trying to, with the hopes of getting more kids to play, getting more kids involved, and growing Little League in Taylor even bigger than it's been. So we're excited about this year. We brought you guys some hats and some shirts. I wanted to formally invite you guys to our opening day on April 25th at Taylor Sportsplex. Be indoors, nice and warm for you guys. It's a big deal. It's a lot bigger. Some people don't know how big Little League is in Taylor, but it really is a big deal. We're going to have between 700 and 900 kids playing in our parks this year. We wanted Taylor South to be involved. They chose not to. We're hoping maybe eventually all of us will be together. That's what we want. But it's going to be a big year for us. We're really excited about it.
What has the parents been?
Really receptive. We haven't had a whole lot of complaints. We've had 3 registrations so far. We got about 350 kids signed up already, which last year the highest league was, I think Northeast had 270. So we're well over that. We have a lot of returns that haven't signed up yet. So all things point to good this year. It's going to be a good year. So,
what time is that on the 25th?
it's going to be at 9 o'clock tentatively. The parade is going to start at Kennedy High School, and we're going to start at the entranceway off of North Line. We're going to walk through Kennedy's parking lot, come out into Superior, come around the Sportsplex, come into one of the soccer arenas, and then have it indoors. It's approximately 1 mile of walking, which is less than all of us have walked in the past. We're getting a little complaints about that because people don't understand the logistics of it all, but it's a better central location for everybody, and parking and everything else will be much better.
They did that, what, about 10 years
Yeah,
ago?
Manny had the
It worked
idea.
out pretty good because all the leagues were there at one time. And,
Yeah.
you know.
And then we'll just disperse and we'll play the parks for the day. But it's a big deal. I mean, I see posts on Facebook sometimes about people that really aren't involved in Little League Baseball in Taylor, just how big it is. At one point, we had 2,000 kids playing, as recently as 5-7 years ago, I think it was. We've lost some kids to attrition, to soccer, to travel baseball and softball. So this has kind of been like a 5-year endeavor for all of us to get together. Put a lot of time and effort behind it to make it work. There's a lot of egos, a lot of personalities that had to be set aside, mine included. Definitely difficult to deal with at times, but this is for the kids, and it's better for the kids.
Can you explain about how you had the 3 presidents and that? How did you come across them?
So what we did is Nicole Honeycutt is actually the president on paper, per se, for Little League. We did that because Taylor Northeast was the oldest of the 3 leagues, and we out of respect to her, we made her the president. But we have equal voting power. It's kind of set up like maybe a council would be set up. We have about 60 board members, which is also really refreshing. It's hopefully going to mean we have a little more time to ourselves and not as busy, but it's going to be the same. I mean, you're going to have about 25 people doing all the work to 60. But we have a lot of real positive people, and Guido is his kids playing with us this year. I mean, what's your takeaway so far?
It's good. It's going to be positive.
Yeah.
Definitely better tournament teams. I think you guys will be happy when we travel to the state tournaments.
Yeah. So last year was a real, getting there was important for our team, but then getting there and competing at the national level, we've been saying that for years. I mean, it's, talking about, Dan will probably tell you, I mean, it's, when I was growing up, if we would have been able to combine, I think we would have put multiple teams in the World Series. It was, baseball's near and dear to me, and the city of Taylor has been big on baseball, and it's going to continue to be so as long as we're around. So, I had shirts here for everybody on the council. We have hats. I don't know how fat your heads are. My head's pretty
I have
fat.
a question about the kids. The kids that played last year, say at Northwest. How do you go about? Are they still at Northwest?
Yeah, so pretty much. No. We have 3 campuses. We have a Northwest campus, a Central campus, East campus. Basically, anything north of Goddard in the city of Taylor is now in our boundaries. All the schools included. We go into Dearborn Heights. We go into some of Allen Park. Any kid that has been not wavered, 2D or grandfathered into the 3 of our little leagues are still legal to play in our parks. We have the full support of the district staff. Marty Sprague is the district administrator. He made sure he facilitated everything for us. My wife is on the district staff as well. So, and there again, people think this happened overnight. Some of the parents are like, well, why didn't you tell us about this? Well, it's been going on for about 3.5 years. We've been planning this. So it's a lot of behind the scenes people agreeing to do things. Eric gave up a lot of boundaries that Taylor Northwest had, and that's really important in terms of population for Little League. So by him doing that, we were able to kind of combine permanently, and that's where it all started.
So the kids that were on a team last year are not necessarily on another.
Your question is, in baseball, we will redraft every team.
Yes, yeah.
Because,
Including farm?
Yes.
no, yes, including farm.
Yeah.
So everything will be redrafted,
We're
and
still
all the
working on
kids will be
softball.
put in one pool.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna have tryouts for every division, for 7 and 8s, 9 and 10s, 11 and 12s, all the way up. We're gonna redraft everything. So you might end up with a coach that coached at Central last year, or you might end up with a coach that coached at West last year. There is no more West, Central, East coaches, they're all Taylor North.
So your home team is, like if you were at West last year as your home team, it might not be this year, you have to go over
They're-
it.
So, you know, we combined last year for regular season, the interleague, and played all of our games,
Right,
and traveled
yeah, you
around.
did.
It's gonna be the
Yeah.
same.
It's gonna be the same thing.
Okay.
You're not gonna have a home park, you're gonna have a home league, and that's Taylor North now. There is no Taylor Northwest, Taylor Northeast, Taylor North Central. It's Taylor North, and we have a West Campus, Central Campus, East Campus. You could be with the East coach, and your opening day could be at a Westfield.
Can I ask historically who came up with Taylor North and that logo?
Well, the Taylor North logo was kind of a conglomeration, but Lanny's son, Brett, that works at DO, designed that for us. And the idea is the outside of the T looks like, on a shirt, looks like a baseball outfield. So it's pretty cool. So we wanted something crisp and nice to be put on a hat, easy to transfer to shirts and, you know, other merchandise, so. The name
It
took.
said historically, I want that written down, so I have it.
Okay, yeah. And Taylor North was just because we're northeast, northwest, north central, so Taylor North. And we wanted to be called Taylor Little League, but there again, some things with Taylor South just didn't work out. And that's, believe me, we really wanted that to work. We really did. It wasn't like we were, I tried very hard, and some things just didn't work out, but it will. Eventually, I think it's gonna happen. What do you think? What's your mindset on that?
I think over time it will.
Yeah. So, the idea is to use all of our fields to the capacity. We don't want to see empty fields. We want to have as many kids playing baseball here in Taylor as possible. Baseball, softball.
I'd like to commend all you guys for doing this,
Yeah,
because
we're
I mean,
gonna
through the years, you know, from when I played, when Eric, you guys played, there's so many kids, you know, and those numbers have died, you know, and then you said travel, all these other sports and stuff. Taylor really, it's hard to support 4 little leagues in Taylor, you know, and I commend you guys because I know you gotta put your egos aside, you know, and personal conflicts aside, so I give you guys credit for doing that.
That was-
I think you guys made a great decision because I think Taylor shouldn't have more than 2 little leagues. If we can have 1, that would be great.
Yeah.
But I mean, 2 is definitely, I think, you know, with the amount of kids, because when we were all young, everybody had 5 and 4 and 5 kids, and everybody played, and
Well,
now it's, you know, it's,
If you look at the big picture, I mean, back in them days, we also had 13 elementaries.
right.
right.
We had 3 high schools. Okay, we're down to 1 high school. We're down to 6 elementaries.
I'm a big numbers guy, and I think from the age of 12 years old to 13 in the city of Taylor, we're losing by 80% of the kids across the board. And that's to different things now. Video games, you know, Fortnite generation killed us. We've got, you know, T-ball, we had 125 kids at Central 3 years ago. We had 70 last year. So, and we're not gaining kids in the older divisions like we used to. We're not retaining them. The ball players, they continue to play. The ones that are there for the snack and the picnic they're done at 12 years old now. So we're trying to retain them. We're trying to give them something. We're bringing kids back. That's a good thing. Of the 330 or 350 kids we've signed up so far, I think we probably have about 100 to 150 brand new players already have signed up. So we got to get the returners to get back in there. But
Our returners won't sign up till March.
in terms
2
of
weeks.
travel, you know, travel softball alone, there's 37 softball travel teams in the cities of Taylor, Southgate, Lincoln Park, Allen Park. 37 from the ages of 10 to 14.
There's 186 travel baseball teams from the age of 8U to 12U in the Downriver.
And when I, just as an example, when I was a kid, there was 2. There was Little Caesars and,
CompuWare.
CompuWare, yeah. So, I mean, it's really become, you know, so, hopefully this will, I think, but I think it's a great idea. I'm glad.
So real quick, do you have extenders for those hats because they won't fit?
This is the biggest hat they make. So if this is the fit over here, they got a bigger hat than me. So we got the bigger sizes here, so.
Doug or Eric, how do you guys still envision the partnership with the churches related to Taylor Northeast? I know that St. Constance has always had a good relationship, and I don't remember the other church name.
Nicole wants to keep the relationship there. We don't need them anymore, in my opinion. I mean, with the fields at our disposal, but for practice purposes, we're gonna keep them. They make some small donations to the churches, but We are of the mindset that we're going to kind of use our property to their capacity now.
Okay.
That's what we want. I mean, it's,
I know the one, we have some parking issues, they're minor, but, you know, there's always, especially early in the season, but they're not a big deal.
yeah. It's, hopefully it's gonna be a lot of the same. We keep trying to tell the parents it's gonna be the same but different. That's the only way we can describe it. It's, the big allure, for those of you that don't know how Little League works, is the year-end tournaments for all-stars are big. And you're basically, we know we're running the risk of alienating, you know, some people because their kids that were perimeter players aren't gonna make the all-star team. But the idea is to, and it's not all about winning, don't get me wrong, but we're trying to build teams to compete at a national level. We wanna put a team in Williamsport, that's our dream. It's never happened for Taylor. So we wanna put a team in Williamsport, so. And our teams are really pumped about playing back at the World Series. That experience last year was amazing, so it's,